afternoon. I'm sorry I missed my own introduction. That's luck. I got here well in advance. I promise you, Mr. Mariwala, I was here at least 40 minutes ago. I went to wear my mic and I got delayed. This is an interesting afternoon. We're following a tough to beat session, right? You got everything from mental to physical fitness in that session, innovation, technology, saving humanity, and of course, the struggles of being of a different gender. We're going to come back a little bit to business, entrepreneurship, profitability, and all of that in this conversation. And not only am I going to touch upon the two fabulous speakers that I have on stage, but I'm also going to involve the audience in this crossfire. Now, this is the first time that the ASCENT is doing a crossfire, and it's a very interesting theme, as has already been spelled out to you, is the future of online retail offline, or let me rephrase it, the future of online retail is offline. That's the premise we're debating today. Now, it's interesting, of course, because it's contemporary, it's modern, companies are pumping in large billions of dollars into it, but it's also interesting because if I change the two words and the position of the two words online and offline, you would also have, a debatable premise. Is the future of offline retail online? So we're going to debate all of this today. And just this morning, as luck would have it, I came across a very extensive, detailed McKinsey survey on the future of retail. And they put the debate, if I may say so, or the fight in the marketplace in a very interesting fashion. And I'm just going to give you a quick glimpse of that before we get into the debate. They said retail is becoming an infinite game. And let me explain that to you. The McKinsey report, that is, quotes author Simon Sinek to explain what this means. They say that the author contextualizes finite games as having known players, fixed rules, and an agreed objective. Whereas what are infinite games? No fixed rules, and the objective is to perpetuate the game, all right? So here's what they say, and I'm going to quote McKinsey on this. To put it simply, finite players are playing to win, but infinite players are playing to stay in the game. Competitors drop out of the infinite game when they lose the will or the resources to play. And then they say Amazon at a global level has been playing the infinite game. I don't know if Amazon agrees with that or not, but that's what McKinsey says. Competitors are being forced to adapt and pivot long-standing business models. Now, having set the context, therefore, let me open this debate by asking both of my panelists to answer the one most important question in business and in retail business, which is profitability, right? Money is about staying power, and let's put money out of the way first before making more ambitious claims on online or offline. Mr. Biyani, we'll start first with you. I was looking at your second quarter earnings. Your net profit margin is 4%, which is not bad. Better than all offline players, if I may put it that way. You have a net profit. That in itself is a big thing. But some of your store formats are still losing money, like Easy Day for that point. So where in the profitability game does offline or brick and mortar retail stand? Does it hold the winning card?
I think you started with saying that it's an infinite game. So I think
McKinsey, not me.
No, I think the new report which come out today, Morgan Stanley and some quotes out of McKinsey. So this is the infinite game. You have to be in the game, and we are in the game for a long period of time. And our job is to see that the customers is happy with us. We create products and brands through which we can deliver through our retail formats. And profitability is a key because the size and scale is very important in this business. So unless you don't get size and scale, you can't be profitable. Secondly, how much of the value chain you manage and what is your cost leadership in terms of managing the business. So we believe that offline retail people over a lot of period of time have developed their models. They've got their customer understanding, they've got the products, and they've got the cost model also now in place. And I see profitability going for offline retailers more and more as we move forward. So because we all have developed a model, I think for us, offline retail is going to be profitable, and we'll play the infinite retail by doing something else.
No, so what is your view on profitability of online? I know offline is profitable in most cases, but what is your view on the lack of profitability in the online game and whether that is the losing card?
I think online game is being played very differently. If you look at the cost model of an offline retailer, our cost of acquiring a customer is far, far lower, maybe less than 1 or 2% now. Our cost of delivery is not there. Our cost of running a store is around 13-14%. So we operate a retail business at around 15-16% of cost. But if you look at an online retailer, their cost of acquiring a customer is 10 to 30%. I would say on an average 18-20%. The cost of delivery is around 11 to 20% again. And the cost of managing the business is another 10%. So the cost of doing business itself is close to 50%. And no business, no product gives you that kind of margin. I think it will be a while before they become profitable because they will have to achieve size and they will have to reduce the cost of delivery and reduce the cost of acquiring a customer. But I think they are far away.
Falguni, far away.
So I think, firstly, I think half the thunder is taken away by bringing Nykaa, which is on a path to profitability and at EBITDA break-even. So I can't speak for the whole industry. But I can at least argue on the behalf of the industry why this is like this. So clearly the cost of customer acquisition tends to be high, and on a first order, it tends to be as high as, like Mr. Biyani said, somewhere between 20 to 30%.
I think he said 50%.
The cost of doing business for online retailer
Cost
is
of
around 50%.
doing business, not
No, doing
customer
business
acquisition.
is at 50. I'm
Yeah.
talking about cost of customer acquisition.
Customer acquisition.
So compared to the first order, on an average, typically most people spend between 20 to 30%. In my early days also, when I was spending that kind of money, I used to feel that am I the biggest fool? I remember I used to do business for L'Oreal who were giving me much lower margin, and we were spending a lot more money to acquire the customer. However, now having been in the business and leveraging all that is available in the digital business, the kind of consumer cohort we observe is so phenomenal that now I truly understand why e-commerce companies want to acquire customers all the time. So we also have taken a pledge to acquire about 30% new customers. That is a balance to achieve profitability, which a lot of people advise me saying, don't be foolish, don't go for profitability, acquire more customer if this is the cohort you are seeing. So someone else can take a call that let's acquire, 60% new customers. And today, if e-commerce companies don't acquire new customers, many e-commerce companies would be profitable. So it's a very conscious choice they're making that in a digital world where the cohort shows that you can be in touch with your customer and lead to a much better cohort, they are making that upfront investment so that they have a bigger business in future.
Okay, let me follow that up with a two-part question. One is you came from being a conventional investment banker, one of the leading ones in this country, to a business that burns money like crazy. What was the mindset that you had to change to be able to get used to figuring that out? And the second part, why is it that at Nykaa your path to profitability has been much faster than it has been for many other large retail players in this country? What have you done differently in your experience that has put you in that position? I think you're aiming to do, you've done about 500 to 600 crores of revenue this year. You aim to do about 1,000 crores next year,
about
right?
100 plus crores a month.
And you'll be
So we are
profitable
already
next
at
year?
1,200. Yes, we are 1,200 crore revenue run rate, and we are clearly profitable at that level. But the reason, I'll answer the second question first.
Okay.
The reason comes from having been a banker and a broker and understood the reality of India for many years. I'm convinced that just because you raise a lot of money, you advertise a lot, get a lot of customers to your website, that doesn't mean you can convince all of them to buy. So there is a certain reality of India, and that needs to be kept in mind in terms of the amount you spend to build a business. And in my view, a lot of businesses have been overcapitalized in India and are spending way too much to justify the long-term return expectations that they should have from their business. It comes from awareness that the conversion rate in India are very low, and they come from affordability, and which I see on my site all the time. We have a site full of great brands, great products, great prices, and yet it's a tale of two markets. While a lot of our customers buy above 5,000 rupees, but more than 60% of our orders every day are below 500 or below 700 to be precise. And in a site full of great products, great offers, these customers are buying worth 700 and going away, which means that there is an affordability issue in India. So I think being aware of these issues, I feel that e-commerce businesses in India need to be built with a certain, pace that makes sense for India. And just pouring a lot of money into India won't work. So I think I do believe in e-commerce long term. I do believe in power of digital and to continue to extract value out of the customers you acquire. but there is a reality of India, and that determines the pace.
But what specific steps did you take that you thought differentiated you from other e-commerce players when it came to the path to profitability?
So just having assumed this reality of the market, we wanted to be at a cost structure where we wanted to capture, like Mr. Biyani said, many of those things are very similar to what he says, that you need to capture the larger value chain in the activity that you're doing, which means that you need to be ready to do some heavy lifting. You need to be inventory based, because obviously for taking inventory risk, you get better margins than just being a marketplace. Secondly, you need to do heavy lifting in terms of managing your warehouses, managing your supply chain, which again, a lot of players just want to put the business together. Like they want other people to do everything and they think they'll have the margin structure, including doing marketing. And a lot of our marketing now is what we call as organic or direct, so that our percentage paid marketing is very low. I think in the industry, what I saw is that a lot of people also relied on affiliate, where you give away 10% for marketing also. So if you're giving away components to different players and not capturing full value chain, then obviously your margins keep shrinking.
Okay.
So I think Nykaa tried to keep most of it in-house.
Mr. Biyani said, and in his estimate, the most online players tend to spend about 50%, right, to be able to do business. The cost of doing business is about 50% of their revenue. In your case, how much have you been able to crunch it down?
We currently spend 32%.
Okay, so that is encouraging and convincing.
They are specialty retailer.
But nonetheless, the proof of the pudding is there, right?
That credit goes to the background she has.
So you're giving it all the credit to the investment banking line.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, but I do want to come back to a more serious point on profitability here. One of the things Falguni said was over-capitalized online players. Really what that has also meant is this incredible price war. For consumers, it's excellent, right? It's sales season around the year, literally around the year. There's a sale, there's a Monday sale, there's a Tuesday sale, you have Tuesday and Wednesday, I think, in all your stores. What has this meant eventually for the business financials, and what will it mean in the medium to the long term? The fact that so much money, and now we have big foreign players here as well, is being put to acquire customers, and one of the routes for that is lower prices. Will that put even viable businesses like yours out of business? So is this a burn all strategy in that sense?
I think e-commerce or pure online commerce business should be viewed from a angle that you can capture some categories in that business on the price war, because the business is secular only in few categories. If business is not secular in each and every category, secular I means one brand which can appeal to everyone, one product which can appeal to every audience. So electronic, mobile phone, I think you can play the price war and you can get the top line. And that's what is happening. Now when you come to fashion, you need an assortment, you need a number of SKU play, which is very different. You need to build brands, you need to create that aspirations. You can't only win on price point in the long term, because price, MRP is not known for any product, because the fashion, you can't define the price in that sense. I think category wise, things will be very different. And when it comes to grocery, I think it's a very low margin business. So I think the first war which has been won or getting the volume has been on electronics and mobile phones. And that continues to happen. And I believe that accounts for 65% of the online business.
Okay.
And imagine doing that at a cost of 40% of sales, where the margins are, I think this season, the prices which I have seen is not our cost price also. And we buy from the manufacturer directly from China.
Do you do discounts?
Either we are fools or they are greater fools.
Actually,
Anybody wants to answer that question?
Actually, what has happened is that by choosing someone like me, you are taking half of the debate away. So I completely agree with him that there is no need to discount from the pocket.
No. This is not my fault. This is Mr. Mariwala and his team's fault.
So what I can say is that I think even in e-commerce, before I got into e-commerce, I really looked at a lot of research. And I didn't want to be in e-commerce if price was the most important reason for which consumer buys online. And all the research showed me, this is in 2012 where I didn't know enough about the industry. All the research showed me that consumers go to e-commerce site first and foremost for assortment and for curation, which is exactly what Mr. Biyani is saying. And we should not forget that rule that for consumer, assortment and curation is more important than anything else. And a good retailer must first provide that. In e-commerce, and that may be different, but that is different, but in a different way for physical and e-commerce, but convenience is important. So what convenience means is sometimes consumers want it at their home, in which case e-commerce rules, but sometimes consumers want to go into the store, experience the product and take it home with you. They don't have the patience to wait for tomorrow, in which case the store rules. And the third most important was price. And we actually work with our brand partners to offer price discounts only when they wanted to. So if you come to our site, there'll be brands where we have 0 discount, and there'll be brands where we have sampling.
So you're not funding any discounts?
And yeah, we don't fund any discounts.
Okay.
And that is the way I think the business could have been built. So if you're not in this huge top line game and somebody in terms of your investor base is asking you about profitability, it clearly will go in the right direction.
Okay.
Menaka, I forgot to tell you that 26% is the average goods return in online business.
26%?
26%.
Ah, yeah. Are we going back to the same question? Who's the bigger?
No, I think I won that war now.
I think that, I knew we would come to, I knew the conclusion of this debate was foregone.
No, but I think, can I just explain that a little bit? And it's different for different segments. So there is something called 10%, at least for us, 8 to 10% is what called COD, which is, not COD, it's what we call NDR, non-delivered returns, in the sense that we send the package to the customer. Customers change their mind between placing the order and taking delivery. Most of these are on COD basis, and that package comes back. Now, typically that package can be inverted back, so you only spent on delivery and you've not lost the goods. And then on top of that, there are returns, which in our beauty is very limited, but in fashion it can be high because of size and stuff like that, which are after customer takes delivery and then they're disappointed with either the quality or about the size or anything, and then it comes back. So there is a lot of noise, but I think through better systems and processes, this can be managed. So we at Nykaa have something called, we do verification, which means that we auto-tag the orders, which we believe where there have been more NDR returns and where there have been bad behavior towards COD or returning the orders, and those customers will recheck. So I think through those verification process, you can control these numbers to affordable levels.
Okay, great. I want to go to the audience because this is supposed to be a collaborative conversation. And I know Manisha has both a comment and a question on this issue of profitability and really which side of the debate will win on that. Manisha, where are you? There you are. Do you have a mic?
Question's going to be to both sides. The first is, of course, it's on profitability, and we already discussed the predatory pricing that e-commerce can afford to acquire customers. My question is that all the e-commerce sites, there is no customer stickiness, and how long do you think this war would sustain? Of course, you said Nykaa doesn't have to give that, but for the e-commerce, if you could just inform us on that.
I think that is exactly why the question of the the definition of the topic is what it is. E-commerce companies' biggest fear is that digitally it's easy to get the customer, but digitally it's also easy to lose the customer. And hence, world over, all the e-commerce companies are trying to set up physical stores so that they have a greater consumer connect and they build a brand more strongly. So converting an e-commerce destination to a brand that consumer believes in, and also having certain amount of physical retail stores so that you have a consumer connect is going to be the way forward.
Okay. You want to follow that up quickly?
Yeah. So my question is now to Mr. Biyani. So when you have stores, and as she said that they're building brick and mortar, how does a small and medium enterprise run it? Because the cost of operating in a store, you're not sure which are going to be profitable or what is the return on square foot. How would you advise that a person sustains that when you want to scale up?
I think it's a very simple. There was a TV program called Saas Bhi Kahi Bahuti. Everybody has to start small sometime, and you have to you have to fight it out, and you have to make yourself big, and you have to find your niche and enter somewhere. We all started small somewhere or the other.
What Mr. Biyani is telling you is those are trade secrets, and I'm not about to answer your question right now. We will come to that question. I'm sure we'll get to Omnichannel. I have no doubt. That was the foregone conclusion of this debate. And we will ask Falguni how she's managing that challenge and then see what advice Mr. Biyani has to give on that. But I want to move to the second point. And I've sort of broadly termed it reach and logistics. And what I really mean by that is who's going to rule middle India? So far, the game for hypermarkets, for large format stores like Mr. Biyani's, and for online has been played and won one way or the other in urban India. But really, middle India is where the real battles will be fought. And so, Mr. Biyani, this question is to you. In this middle India, neither you are king nor Falguni is queen. It's the Kirana wala who rules. And I want to know how or why you think the brick and mortar led model, please note I've moved from brick and mortar model to brick and mortar led model, is going to win middle India.
If you look at Future Group, we operate on 3 levels. One is Big Bazaar, which is the largest store, and we are operating in population of 100,000 plus. And we are within 5 kilometers of every consumer in 13,000 pin codes, which is, I would say there are 18,000 serviceable pin codes. Falguni would know better than me on this. And we are now working on opening up small stores in every part of India, which is up to a population of 50,000.
Okay.
And we are planning to open 10,000 stores over a period of next 7-8 years. We are opening 3 stores a day. We are touched 1,100, 1,200 stores. And we think we'll be within 2-kilometer distance of every customer in India, every consumable customer in India. And third is we have Aadhaar wholesale centers which we opened. We'll be starting in 8 states. We have started in 3 states now. One is Punjab, one is Gujarat, and one is Rajasthan, wherein we are opening our franchise stores, which is serviced out of our wholesale centers, in population of less than 50,000. And most of our stores which are opened are in population of around 10,000. So we believe there's a market everywhere in this country. And probably there are many states which are, our Gujarat experience has been fantastic in terms of our largest selling SKU in the towns of 6,000 to 10,000 is almonds and walnuts in terms of value.
Almonds and walnuts.
So I think India surprises you that wherever there is prosperity, there is an aspiration and there is a consumption. You have to create a whole supply chain model to deliver it. So we are looking at every part of India. Anybody who is aspiring Indian and wants to consume, we want to be a part of that. So we have laid the foundation. You will see that growth coming in.
But how do you, contrast the business economics for me, for someone like you at Future, sort of going more micro and going down to the smallest towns and villages versus how the Kirana wala chains operate? I say chains loosely, I don't mean...
I think Kirana wala operates...
But you're going to have to compete with his business economics, right?
I think we are creating
So one more, the second part of the question. How long will these format stores take to make money, or will these format
But there is nobody supplying walnuts and almonds in that area.
Nobody
is supplying there. People, the cost of distributing in smaller towns is very difficult. There is an aspiration there. I mean, there are no SKUs available. There are only 300 SKUs available in that town.
So what you're doing is you're able to broaden or increase...
We are broadening the assortment and making goods reach there.
There is a distribution.
But that's why we have created a wholesale center which brings down the cost of distribution.
So what is the cost difference between...
I can't talk about that because there are a lot of competitors sitting here.
You can ask him the question, maybe he'll answer you. I'm media, but what is the cost difference between, running a simple...
I think we are building our FMCG business. We have a company called Future Consumer, and we are building a whole distribution model based on modern trade or modern sensibilities, and not building a GT distribution model or a wholesale driven model or a wholesale distribution driven model. So we are creating a new model of distribution.
So, okay, let me rephrase my question since you won't give me too many details. Can you be profitable in middle India?
I think we are already profitable.
How long will it take you?
We are already profitable there. Our small stores are still not profitable, the 10,000 which you want to open, because that is infinite retail.
Oh, I see. You're playing both sides of the game.
Yeah, that is infinite retail, but the wholesale distribution model is going to be profitable.
Did McKinsey send me that report, or did you send me the report?
I don't know. I have not read the report. I just got it in the morning, but didn't get time to read it today.
Okay. Yeah, well, okay. Let me put the question to you this way, Falguni. Middle India again, we're still talking about that, right? McKinsey report says hypermarkets, supermarkets, and small organized outlets now contribute more than 10% to the industry's revenue, right? Online e-commerce for FMCG brands, I'm sort of narrowing it because otherwise it becomes too difficult to quantify in any fashion, will reach 10% also versus hypermarkets, supermarkets and organized retail. Will reach 10%, but in 2030, right? That's how far away we are. For you, is Middle India an immediate aspiration? Is Middle India 5 years, 8 years down the line aspiration? All the incumbent challenges with reaching Middle India, delivery, etc., etc. How do you figure that? And do you think online, not just you, but online, can win the Middle India battle faster than offline?
I think today 60% of our sales are in metros and 40% is in smaller towns. And it's clearly on the increase. And I think there are categories for which the amount of business they do in smaller town could be higher. So I think clearly, I think it's a scale game, right? So till a certain commodity reaches certain scale in a certain town, it won't have affordable retailers in that town. I mean, in the sense that there won't be retailers who can afford the business in that town. So either you go to the nearby town or you order online. And as the online becomes available, they will opt for online. In fact, belief is that many of those places will be bigger buyers because they just don't have local availability in case of online. Secondly, we can service wherever the courier partners are because Nykaa is not building, we are not building our own courier distribution.
Right.
So as the delivery capabilities are growing, and they are growing, we can ride that. So that is what is determining. But there is a third part, which I think Mr. Biyani also, I'm sure he'll address, that at least there's a language barrier also to service Middle India because many of them have more they want to talk in their local languages. They're more comfortable with that. Until e-commerce companies invest in non-English, content and also marketing, I think reaching and educating, like our successes come from educating our customers. So until we can do that very confidently in all languages, I think we are not really giving them enough solutions.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to come back to the language bit because, I think when I discuss technology and innovation, it's one of the issues I do want to bring up. But when we talk about Middle India, we should also talk about the other place where this battle is going to be the most fiercest and where most of the money is now slowly starting to pour in, and that is really grocery, which is about 60% of the retail market in India. I think it's incredible that both organized brick and mortar retail and, of course, online have very, very small fractions of this grocery business, and who's going to be able to consolidate their corner of the business is really, really tough. But at this point, it does look that the omni-channel model that online has moved to very fast, and the fact that they're more agile, they're able to build alliances with store networks everywhere in the country, sort of gives online, Mr. Biyani, the trump card when it comes to grocery.
I think we have, as a group, we have decided that our small store business, wherein we are within 2-kilometer radius of every customer, is a membership model, wherein member gives us money to become a member, and he shops more than 43 times a year. That's our average currently.
A little bit like Sam's Club, right?
It's not like a Sam's Club. It's a small store. It's a 2,500 square feet store, and the frequency of a member is very high, and we are within him. And I think we are aiding them with technology. They can order on a phone, they can order on a WhatsApp, they can order on a web, they can push a button and send the order. And we are creating a whole model of distribution out of the convenience model of home delivery from that idea. And that's
so how much of your sales in this sector or in this space comes through your online platforms?
I think we believe that our customers don't want online.
Don't want?
Hardly 2 to 3%.
But you just told me they can press a button, do whatever.
But they can do that, but they are not doing it. How will they kill their time? What will they do all day?
So they kill their time by going...
Obviously, shopping is an activity which takes away 1 hour, 2 hours of your day, and everybody in this world has come to kill time.
Okay. I'm not going to win this. Falguni, do you have a response to this?
So we say that our customer fall in 3 categories. And a very large
That's
category.
a very serious response, Falguni.
Yes.
I'm asking about how much time you have to kill.
It's a good response.
Okay.
So 35% of our customers, we classify them as they are short on time. So they're all coming to online.
Okay.
The ones who are short on time.
I would go back to both of them for more answers on this, but I'm not sure I'll get anywhere. So instead, I'm going to go to Mr. Harsh Mariwala on this question of grocery retail, which is where this Mahayuddh is being fought. All the dollars and the euros and the pounds are all being pumped into this. Who's going to win this? Is it going to be the offline-led model or the online-led model?
So just to give a perspective, as of today, at least FMCG sales, online is 1 to 1.5%.
Right, sir.
Modern retail, which includes all the modern retail outlets is around 15%. Some companies a little more. It will increase, both will increase, definitely. Online is growing as of today much faster than online, but offline also is growing quite a lot, So offline, I think, is growth rate in the range of 25-30%. Online is, depending on the kind of business you are in, it can grow by 50, 70, 80%, But going forward, still, I think the mom and pop stores will still play a very, very dominant role.
Lovely. You picked the one person who's not on the panel.
Yes. I mean, I can see 15% going to 25%. I can see 1%, 2% going to 5-10%. But the balance will still remain with the grocery stores, because you can't take that away. In a city like Bombay, for example, if I'm in Bandra, I'm not going to go all the way to Future Store, which is very far away, So I think you have to realize that there are certain limitations in terms of space and all that, which will prevent it to take it all the way, So the common grocer will continue as a very dominant force in terms of, especially for groceries.
Yeah. Ms. Marival, don't give away the mic. I want to follow that up. I don't know how far the future store is, but I think the game that both sides are playing today is the buy online, get home delivered game, right? And I think the question that I want to rephrase then and put to you then is that how do you think that will be the winning model? Because that seems to be where all the predictions lie. That if you can get an online sort of model married with an offline delivery model, now I don't know if that is necessarily you go to a future retail website, buy from there, and a future store finds a way to deliver it to you irrespective of how far they are, or you go to, let's say, an online platform and they have a loose alliance with the grocery store near your house and they deliver it.
So that's what's happening. I mean, if you see all the bigger acquisitions which have happened, Flipkart, Walmart, Amazon, so all that is, I think, basically they're trying to use both these models to gain effectiveness in terms of looking at the merchandise as well as delivery points, In spite of all that, I still think the grocers will have, because they have a certain personal relationship with the household. So they will, in my opinion, they will still continue to play a dominant role.
The mom and pop stores.
Yes, but so not to say that their contribution will go down over a period of
Menka, we
time.
both have lost, actually.
No, but so you're very seriously saying that 50% of this market in India for the foreseeable future, the next 10 years, will still be ruled by the mom and pop store chain?
Yes.
In grocery, yes.
In grocery?
Yes, in
grocery is all about proximity retail.
But not in, let's say, electronics or
electronics
fashion.
has moved to online quite a lot.
Okay, fair enough. That's a fair point I want to ask. In this move to omni-channel, since we've introduced this omni-channel bit, let me ask both of you a quick question. You've just introduced about 10 or 11 stores.
27 now.
27 now, okay. How difficult was that decision? Because there is a capital cost that comes to doing this. And, to figure out location, to get all of that right. How did you go about determining that? And are these stores paying off, or how long will it take for them to pay off? Let me put it that way.
So I think the belief in omni-channel and needing stores was clearly part of our plan from day one. So I was very aware that one would need stores in the medium term to hold your customers with yourself. However, we in e-commerce have got very used to getting easy growth. Like we are growing at 100% year on year. We can increase the visits to our website. We can take customers to whatever page we want. So we love the online business now. And the feeling is that offline business is a lot of work, because you have to really get the location right. You have to recruit like 7 to 10 people in the store. You need to train them. You need to have the right inventory management at store level instead of larger warehouse levels. So we find it all very difficult, but I think the conversions in stores really are very strong. And secondly, also in the store, the customer connect is good. So we are seeing it as an investment on building the brand and doing the difficult stuff and making investment towards that.
No, but have you got, when you planned this, did you think that you would eventually get to a stage where, let's say, 50% of your customers came through a brick and mortar retail experience, and then the other 50 came through online? Have you projected any of this? What do you expect these stores to achieve for you in terms of numbers?
We currently believe that stores will be just at about low teens, but in the long run, we'll aim for stores to be about 20% of our sales.
20% of your sales. Okay. And you'll obviously then pick geographies, locations that fit your capital structure, as opposed to a random expansion plan or a very large scale expansion.
No, I don't think it goes like that. Like I cannot be in a location which I can afford. I need to be where the consumers are.
Okay.
So very often the stores will be in malls which are very expensive and really pain us. and we'll have to allocate some of the costs to brand building, so to
So how has that changed your capital plan? The day you decided that you were going to do, you've got 27 now, and how many do you intend to do in the next 3 years?
We will be at 42 by March, and
Okay.
we'll be at about 180 over the next few years.
So how did that change your capital plan, your
It's-
business plan?
It doesn't affect it very meaningfully on total basis because it's affordable, let me put it that way. But it is clearly more capital inefficient compared to e-commerce.
Okay. Is omnichannel going to be the way that it works? And in that game, will you be the ones who rule? Because you've already done the investing, you've built the network, you've got the stores, and you've got the Amazons and the world chasing after you, saying, please allow me to buy 10% because I want to be able to do this omnichannel thing in India, and you guys give me the best reach.
I think we decided we will
No,
not.
answer the Amazon question.
I can't answer anything.
Amazon.
I
Mr.
think-
Biyani, is Amazon chasing you?
No, nobody's chasing me, unfortunately.
Yeah, sure.
I think we have converted ourselves into something what we call, I'm a consumer goods company, building our own brands and having our own retail distribution to do business. And we can sell through any channels. Our products are available online also, and our products are available offline also. We believe wherever the consumer wants to buy a product, our product should be available.
Yes, exactly.
And you don't need to do a marketplace and lose 7,000-8,000 crores a year on that. Yeah.
Is Amazon looking to, invest in companies like yours?
think-
Do you think that kind of model will work?
I think offline-online convergence is happening everywhere in the world, whether it's China, whether it's US. Amazon has acquired Whole Foods. They have taken a part of more also now. And I think it depends on every company's strategy, what they want to do in the country.
So do you think that teaming up with an Amazon works for someone like you? Or do you think...
I personally believe there would be, I believe the next play is not a multi-channel play, it's an ecosystem play.
What does that mean?
Ecosystem is, once you acquire a customer, how do you deal with him in his entire lifestyle or his basic needs? So not only goods, but besides goods, services, financial services, plus other things. So it's an ecosystem play. Look at the Alibaba ecosystem play or Amazon ecosystem play. Maybe Flipkart, Walmart will play an ecosystem play. I believe groups will get formed and ecosystem plays will happen.
And then delivery will become the...
It will be an ecosystem play and alliances will get formed.
Yeah. So you're saying platform delivery will then become subservient to being able to provide the full basket of
Absolutely.
goods and services.
Yeah.
So eventually over a point in time, we'll stop talking about whether are you online or are you offline.
I think because they started in different eras, we started talking to them as this versus this. But ultimately, it's a customer who's buying a product and a brand only.
Okay, fair point. We discussed technology a little bit, and what surprised me, and when Falguni pointed out that one of the challenges of Middle India, and this exists for online, and there are tons of statistics, I won't cite them to you, but the big problem with online or e-commerce in Middle India is that we have not yet been able to adapt to a multilingual market in that sense. So you're not able to reach customers in the languages that they prefer to buy or sell in, which is probably the experience that your Kirana Wala or your mom and pop store is giving to you. So when we come to the issue of technology, innovation, consumer preferences, I think the challenge I'll put to both of you has to do with the fact that it is actually an online player like Amazon that has created the first non-checkout store in the world, right? And I find that interesting that the in-store technology innovation is coming from a player that is largely an offline player, an online player in that sense, even though it may have acquired Whole Foods recently.
I think, Menaka, you are wrong. We have,
We
have a Future Pay app wherein you can scan the product and pay through Future Pay and walk off without going to the cash counter.
So you invented it before?
But it's already there. It's so simple to do. There's no rocket science in this. The unfortunate part is it is given headlines and people start believing they can only do it.
Okay, I stand corrected. Amazon did not discover the first.
But but that's only for limited products. That store is only available to their employees.
It is a model store, I understand. But that's...
it's not a model store. You can come into a store as a Future Pay member, scan and move out.
And not have to interact at all.
Not interact with anybody.
And use a swipe card or a membership.
Nothing you need. You pay out of Future Pay and walk off. And technology is not a domain of a technology company only.
How many people use it?
Not many.
Not many.
Yeah, but
So it's not a big
but we have to popularize it. We need headline stories on this.
Okay. Somebody in the audience must be from the media.
Maybe we'll get headlines.
serious response to the issue of technology and innovation. Do you think most of it, when it comes to customer centricity, is happening more in the online space? What have the challenges, for instance, been on your end as you built this business out? And how different is it when you now build stores out in that sense?
So I think, our business started with an online store. So since our store is online, we devote a lot of resources, time and energy to online. And if you look at Nykaa, employee strength, about 100 out of 500 will be in technology. So that's the kind of investment, a company like ours, which is in e-commerce, makes. And I think you can see the results of that because we believe in it. So obviously we put a lot of energy into leveraging technology and doing more leveraging technology, where personalization, where targeted marketing, all the benefits of digital world, all the benefits of the internet-led world can be leveraged. And I think what Mr. Biyani says is true, that some of these payment options and all are very universal now. There's a lot of technology available as just plug and play. And it's a question of being able to adapt it, and a lot more people will adapt it going forward.
What was the biggest challenge for you in this space?
No, the biggest challenge, so we are also trying to give a true omni-channel model in our stores. So what that means is that we should offer same prices online and offline. We should offer same deals online and offline. And we want to do that. And technology-wise, we can do it. But if our brand partners don't want us to, they are okay to give discount online, but they don't want us to give discounts offline, there is nothing we can do about it. So we have to honor what our brand partners want. So some of the challenges are not from technology side, but they are more from the ways of doing business and the strategic constraints or options that the brands have at the moment.
Okay, so how do you deal with that? I mean, how do you convince a brand partner that, no, I do want to be able to offer the same price in both places?
We talk to them, but finally their decision prevails.
Okay, and have you been able to succeed in that? I'm curious to know, because this seems to be an ongoing, recurring issue with most people who are trying to do both the online, offline model.
Yeah, so it's 70-80% of the brands allow us to do that. It comes from the mix. If the brands have a lot of offline business already, then they don't want to give the discounts in offline, because then they have to roll it out in all their offline stores.
Yeah.
But if there are brands which are predominantly online, or they don't have much of a physical retail distribution, then they're open to giving discounts on both platforms.
Okay, before I go to the audience on this, Mr. Biyani, one can argue this both ways. I mean, the thing with online e-commerce is, for instance, anecdotally, so many people tell me that we've just not been able to crack the multilingual, marketplace in terms of the larger online brands. They haven't done as good a job of being able to do that and talk to customers in the languages that they like and make it easy, customer intuitive in the languages that they like. That's a big challenge. But equally, one might say that, with the right kind of technology investment, online offers you customization, and the next point that I'll get to, which is variety, etc., which offline can never beat.
So I think there is no debate between online. You have to use technology to do business, and the way consumers are going to change, we'll have to change as a retailer, any medium which they want to spend, and one should be ready for it. So I believe a lot of businesses were built around IoT, which came in 20 years ago, and I personally believe the next 20 years will be built around data, and that's what offline retailer has.
Sure.
So you can build a whole business around data.
But again, all of that data is also.
But data is also technology. E-commerce is also technology. So ultimately, it's all about how you use technology to do business, so whether it's online, offline, or any which way.
So you don't think so far it's the online players that have given or have offered more proof or evidence that they are leveraging technology in a better way than offline has been?
I think they have done it in the first round, but now we are coming back with a vengeance.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Vivek, you want to make a quick comment here? I think if she's, I know, but I did promise Vivek, so I'll give her the chance. If I can't see where she is.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah. So we'll make it short because we are coming to the end of our time, and I have a very important question left.
So the question is for both of y'all. Obviously, there's a lot of buzz about omnichannel, digital, and all companies investing around it. But in our experience, we've seen very often not more than 10% actually gets implemented on a large scale. Very often projects just fail halfway. So what is it that companies should really look at, at a ground level to actually implement digital and create a transformation at an organization level?
Mr. Biyani, Falguni, you want to go first on this?
I think to succeed digitally, what happens is that to be able to do digital solutions in a very in a basic manner where you have some representation of your website, what you have to offer is easy. The challenges happen when there's a lot of traffic that comes to the website, when you want to do very complex things on the website, and that really truly needs quality tech team who can make it happen. And I think sometimes one needs conviction that that investment needs to be made, and with that investment, one can get the benefits. Until that conviction comes, I think organizations struggle in terms of under allocating to the tech function. And if there is under allocation, I think it's like a halfway solution, and which doesn't work. So I think that's.
I think at our level, we are making our entire business digital. We have gone into investing in many content companies, which you will come to know very, very soon. Lastly, we have worked on all the data which we have on our customers, because we have members of our store. So we have started we built our data lake maybe a year ago. We are now working on pattern recognition through making a kundli of every customer, and then get into the predictive science of what they are going to consume, and creating a whole supply chain model based on the whole prediction engine, the entire manufacturing and entire supply chain runs. So I think we are 2 years away from reaching a prediction accuracy of more than 90-95% on what the consumer is going to buy based on the pattern recognition which we have done.
Okay, can both of you each give me an illustration of how you all are using, how one use of data in each of your businesses, because we've been hearing this big data transforming retail argument for a long time now, how that has changed either your, sort of financial outcomes or your growth outcomes. Falguni?
Our websites are driven by algorithms, and clearly, the algorithms that we use can clearly immediately affect the results of what we sell.
That's commonly deployed. So
Yes.
can you give me an illustration of a specific thing that you did that actually changed the game?
I think on the website, search is very powerful, because as the website becomes bigger, unless your search is very powerful, you cannot get to what customers cannot get to where they want. So we did big investment in search, and I think the investment in search has really paid off very well in terms of the percentage conversion. So we monitor our conversion. Then there are many such things like, a lot of us, like 70-80% of our orders come on our app, and then customers coming from outside need to go to our app. So there is something called deep linking, and if you have ability to deep link, then customers who have the app will go straight to our app. So there's a lot like that going on in the entire ecosystem, and we keep adapting that. Like a lot of our courier partners had technology in terms of where the package was. We get the APIs and put it in our customer order for customer to see where the package is reached. So there's a whole host of stuff that we can do pretty easily, and that improves customers' experience.
Okay, much of this is commonly deployed across the board. You've upped your technology spends?
Oh, I think we are getting into another round of technology innovations. So I don't know how much to talk about it, but we are building a whole digital financial services business only on technology, only digital. I think our one single app can do anything from entertainment to financial services to commerce to everything. And that's based on membership. Again, we are acquiring members. And what we have done in the last 2 years, we have built a product called Future Pay, which will do only, it only operates in our ecosystem, and it will do 30,000 crores of business by next year. It's running at a run rate of 10,000 crores. 40 lakh active users every month.
40 lakh
Active users every month, and close to 80-85 lakh members already on Future Pay.
Yeah, okay. I want to dwell a little bit more on that, but we'll do that offline. So I come to the last question then. You have to give me a candid answer to this, Mr. Biyani. No getting away from this.
Except for who is running after whom, yeah.
Huh? So who will win, Amazon or Walmart? Chalo.
Who knows?
Who will win? Will it be the brick and mortar led omni-channel exercise?
I think
effort?
whoever.
Will it be the online led loose alliance with mom and pop stores effort? Who's going to win? Will it be the Indian players? Will it be the foreign players?
I think in an infinite game, whoever has money will win.
I should have never brought up the McKinsey report. Who will win?
I think you're not even spelling out all the players, so who knows? I think there could be more players coming in. At the moment, I think there's a lot of talk about what Chinese retailers are doing. If you go into world forums, They're talking about new retail. They're talking about what Chinese retailers are doing. So, but whatever they are doing can be done by others too. So, like, I think the game is pretty wide open. And retail is such a big business, it's such a big market that it doesn't really have to be with any one player. There could be 10 players who can be winners, in my opinion.
Okay, on that politically correct note from both our panelists, we are going to end this debate. Thank you very much for joining us here. I'll say one last line. I knew the conclusion was foregone. Omni-channel, lots of players, those who have capital. But I suspect the one new thing we've learned in this business is that if you have Falguni Nayar or Kishore Biyani running your business, the chances of winning are higher, given where we've reached with this panel discussion. So thank you to both of you for joining us, and thank you for being a wonderful audience.
Thank you.